My dearest friends, have you ever found yourself reaching for those tempting leftovers in the fridge, perhaps a delicious dish you lovingly prepared, then simply popped them in the microwave, convinced you were making a quick, smart, and healthy choice for yourself? Many of us, especially as we get a little older and cherish convenience, do exactly that. But what if I told you that some of those seemingly innocent reheated foods, those very meals you enjoyed just yesterday, could actually be silently working against your precious well-being, gently eroding your health over time, and subtly increasing your risks of issues like uncomfortable digestive troubles, unwelcome cognitive decline, or even more serious long-term conditions? You see, our bodies, particularly as we gain wisdom with age, are incredibly intricate and delicate systems, and what we choose to eat, and crucially, how we prepare and store it, has a profound and often underestimated impact. In this essential video, we're going to shine a much-needed light on 5 very common foods, everyday staples that might already be residing comfortably in your kitchen, that medical experts and nutritionists strongly advise against reheating, because they can actually undergo surprising and potentially harmful transformations that render them less beneficial, or even, dare I say, slightly toxic. We'll delve into the fascinating and often overlooked science behind why these everyday habits can unexpectedly create unwanted compounds, and how these seemingly minor changes over weeks, months, or years can accumulate to foster serious long-term health risks that unfortunately often go completely unnoticed. Please, I urge you, stay with us until the very end, because we're not just going to reveal which foods to approach with caution when reheating, but more importantly, we'll explain the surprising scientific reasons why, backed by solid and accessible medical knowledge, so you can confidently make wiser, more health-protective choices in your kitchen to safeguard your precious vitality, keep your mind sharp and clear, and truly feel your best every single day as you enjoy this beautiful journey of life. Spinach is truly a nutritional powerhouse, widely celebrated for its incredible versatility and a laundry list of health benefits. Whether it's expertly blended into a morning smoothie, quickly sautéed for a vibrant stir-fry, layered generously in a comforting lasagna, or simply tossed fresh into a crisp salad, this leafy green is an absolute staple in kitchens around the globe. It's brimming with essential vitamins like A, C, and K, as well as vital iron and a powerful array of antioxidants, making spinach a consistent go-to choice for countless individuals aiming to meaningfully boost their overall health and well-being. However, there's a widespread kitchen habit, one that many of us engage in without a second thought: reheating spinach, especially after it's been stored for some time. This common practice, unfortunately, has the potential to subtly transform this esteemed superfood into a potential health risk, particularly as our bodies mature. The core of this often overlooked issue lies in spinach's naturally high nitrate content. In their original, unprocessed form, nitrates are not only entirely harmless, but are actually quite beneficial to our health, playing a role in supporting healthy blood flow, helping to reduce blood pressure, and even enhancing exercise performance, as documented in reputable studies published in journals like the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition. Yet, the delicate chemistry of these nitrates undergoes a significant change under specific conditions. When spinach is cooked, then allowed to cool, stored, especially if left at room temperature or kept in the refrigerator for extended periods, and subsequently reheated, particularly in a microwave or at very high temperatures, a distinct chemical transformation begins. The beneficial nitrates start to break down into nitrites. Even more concerning, these nitrites can then further convert into compounds known as nitrosamines, which have been extensively studied and are widely recognized for their potential carcinogenic properties. Nitrosamines are far from a minor concern. Extensive research, including comprehensive studies conducted by authoritative bodies such as the World Health Organization and the National Cancer Institute, has directly linked these compounds to an increased risk of various cancers, particularly those affecting the gastrointestinal tract, such as stomach and colorectal cancer. Beyond that, emerging research suggests that nitrosamines may also subtly contribute to neurological damage, potentially exacerbating existing conditions like cognitive decline or even playing a long-term role in the development of neurodegenerative diseases over the span of many years. The transformation of nitrates into these concerning nitrosamines is a subtle process, completely invisible to the naked eye, rendering it an insidious risk for those who remain unaware of this critical scientific detail. This issue takes on a particular relevance and urgency for older adults whose bodies tend to be more susceptible and less resilient to environmental and dietary toxins. As we gracefully age, our natural cellular repair mechanisms gradually slow down, and our bodily systems become less efficient at effectively detoxifying and eliminating harmful compounds. What might have been a relatively minor issue or easily managed by our bodies in our 20s or 30s can exert a much more pronounced and potentially damaging impact in our 50s, 60s, and certainly beyond, particularly on highly sensitive systems like our brain and nervous system. For instance, chronic, even low-level exposure to nitrosamines has been consistently associated with increased inflammation throughout the body, a widely recognized contributor to cognitive decline and conditions such as Alzheimer's disease, as notably highlighted in various studies published in neurology. Let's consider a very common and relatable scenario. You might prepare a large, delicious batch of spinach-laden vegetable soup on a leisurely Sunday afternoon, with the thoughtful intention of enjoying it throughout the upcoming week. On Tuesday, perhaps, you decide to reheat a generous portion in the microwave for a quick, convenient lunch. While the soup certainly tastes perfectly fine and satisfying, the reheated spinach within it may now silently contain these very nitrosamines, which have gradually formed during the storage and subsequent reheating process. Over countless weeks, months, or even many years of consistently repeating this seemingly harmless habit, these undesirable compounds can subtly accumulate in your system, potentially contributing to significant long-term health risks that, as mentioned, often manifest without immediate, obvious symptoms. The empowering solution here is not to completely avoid spinach altogether. On the contrary, in its fresh, vibrant form, it remains undeniably one of the healthiest and most beneficial foods you can possibly incorporate into your diet. Instead, the key is to wisely adopt smarter and more cautious preparation and handling habits. Whenever it is feasible, prioritize consuming spinach fresh, or immediately after it has been lightly cooked. If you have lovingly prepared a dish that includes spinach and find yourself with leftovers, try to enjoy them cold, perhaps as a delightful spinach salad or even a refreshing cold soup, specifically to circumvent the need for reheating. If reheating absolutely cannot be avoided, do so very gently, using a low heat setting on a stovetop rather than the more intense, uneven heat of a microwave, and crucially, avoid reheating the dish multiple times. Furthermore, it is always wise to store any spinach-containing dishes in the refrigerator promptly after cooking and aim to consume them within a day or, at most, 2 to significantly minimize the potential for nitrate breakdown and the formation of those undesirable compounds. True knowledge is undoubtedly power, and understanding how our everyday kitchen practices can profoundly influence your health empowers you to make genuinely informed and beneficial choices. By simply making small, conscious adjustments, such as prioritizing fresh or cold spinach in your meals, you can actively protect your body and your precious brain from these silent, accumulating risks, ensuring that this truly nutrient-packed vegetable remains a cherished health ally rather than becoming a hidden threat lurking in your leftovers. Potatoes are a deeply beloved comfort food, cherished across countless cultures for their remarkable affordability, incredible versatility, and wonderfully satisfying texture. Whether skillfully mashed with creamy butter, aromatically roasted with fresh herbs, baked until they achieve a delightfully crispy skin, or gently simmered in a hearty and nourishing stew, potatoes undoubtedly serve as a cornerstone of countless memorable meals. However, there's a lesser-known risk that subtly arises when potatoes are cooked, then allowed to cool, stored, and subsequently reheated, a practice that is, let's be honest, quite common in many busy households. This particular sequence of processes can inadvertently trigger certain changes within the potato's composition that may, under specific conditions, pose genuine health risks, especially when they are not handled with the utmost care and precision. When potatoes are initially cooked, their complex starches begin to break down into a softer, more digestible form that our bodies can readily process for energy. Yet, as these cooked potatoes gradually cool, particularly if they are left sitting at room temperature or refrigerated for an overly extended period, these starches undergo a remarkable process known as retrogradation, wherein they transform into what is called resistant starch. Resistant starch, when consumed in appropriate moderation, can actually be quite beneficial, acting as a valuable prebiotic that supports a healthy gut microbiome and helps regulate blood sugar levels, according to research found in the Journal of Nutrition. But the real trouble begins when these previously cooled potatoes are then reheated, especially if high heat methods like microwaving are employed, or if uneven reheating techniques are used, which often leads to inconsistent temperatures throughout the food. The primary and most significant concern with reheated potatoes lies in their unsettling potential to harbor harmful bacteria, most notably Clostridium botulinum, which is the infamous bacterium responsible for botulism. This critical risk is greatly amplified when potatoes are cooked, then, for convenience, wrapped tightly in aluminum foil, which regrettably creates an oxygen-poor environment, and subsequently allowed to cool very slowly at room temperature before they are finally stored. These precise conditions create an ideal and thriving breeding ground for C. botulinum, an insidious bacterium that flourishes in low oxygen, starchy environments. Even if the reheated potatoes don't display any obvious signs of spoilage, such as an unpleasant smell or altered appearance, the bacteria can still produce extremely potent neurotoxins that are entirely odorless, tasteless, and invisible, yet are fully capable of causing severe illness. Symptoms can range from nausea and dizziness to, in rare but alarming cases, serious neurological complications that require immediate medical attention. For older adults, this particular risk is profoundly concerning. The natural process of aging often brings with it a gradual decline in overall immune function and digestive efficiency, rendering the body less equipped and resilient to effectively combat harmful bacterial toxins. Moreover, the intricate gut-brain axis, a rapidly expanding and crucial area of medical research, starkly highlights how our gut health directly and powerfully influences cognitive function. Chronic inflammation, which can be ignited by harmful bacteria or their toxins in the gut, has been demonstrably linked to an increased risk of neurodegenerative diseases, including Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, as consistently noted in numerous studies published in Frontiers in Neuroscience. Therefore, the seemingly innocuous act of reheating leftover mashed potatoes could, over time, subtly contribute to systemic inflammation that eventually impacts both your cherished physical vitality and your invaluable mental clarity. Imagine, for instance, that you've thoughtfully baked a tray of perfect potatoes for dinner one evening, carefully wrapping any extras in foil before placing them in the fridge. A couple of days later, you quickly reheat a portion in the microwave for a convenient side dish. While undeniably convenient, this practice could subtly introduce low levels of bacterial toxins into your system, which, with repeated exposure over time, may gradually accumulate. The potential risk is even higher if those potatoes were left to cool slowly on the counter for too long before refrigeration, as this unfortunately extends the critical window for bacterial growth to thrive. To confidently enjoy potatoes safely and without undue worry, it's wise to follow a few simple yet effective guidelines. Firstly, wherever possible, try to cook only the amount of potatoes you anticipate eating fresh in one sitting. If you absolutely must store leftovers, make sure to cool them down very quickly, perhaps by separating larger quantities into smaller, shallower containers. And always store them in airtight containers, never in foil, in the refrigerator to significantly slow down any potential bacterial growth. When you do reheat them, always use a stovetop or oven to ensure thorough and even heating throughout. And crucially, avoid reheating potatoes more than just once. If, by chance, your potato leftovers have been sitting in the fridge for more than a couple of days, or if they show even the slightest signs of spoilage, it is always far better to err on the side of caution and promptly discard them. Potatoes remain an incredibly nutritious and delightfully delicious food when they are prepared and handled with proper care. By simply being mindful of how you store and reheat them, you can effectively minimize these potential risks and truly maximize their myriad health benefits. For older adults who are often keenly focused on preserving precious energy, maintaining sharp memory, and safeguarding overall vitality, these small yet significant adjustments can truly make a meaningful difference in promoting long-term health and a thriving quality of life. Eggs are a true cornerstone of American cuisine, prized not only for their consistent affordability and incredible versatility, but also for their impressive nutritional density. Whether they are scrambled to fluffy perfection for a hearty breakfast, diligently hard-boiled for quick, protein-packed snacks, or skillfully incorporated into savory quiches and comforting casseroles, eggs stand as a reliable, go-to protein source. They are absolutely packed with essential nutrients like choline, which is vital for supporting robust brain health, and high-quality protein, crucial for maintaining strong muscles as we age. However, there's a widespread and rather common habit: reheating cooked eggs, especially when done in a microwave or at excessively high temperatures, that can subtly transform this otherwise wholesome food into one that may pose discrete but potentially significant health risks. When eggs are initially cooked, their proteins undergo a fundamental process called denaturation, where they meticulously unfold and reconfigure into a digestible form that our bodies can readily utilize. This is a perfectly natural and indeed beneficial aspect of cooking. Yet the act of reheating already cooked eggs, particularly when subjected to uneven or intensely hot temperatures, unfortunately triggers further chemical changes that can undeniably compromise both their safety and their nutritional value. Two principal issues tend to arise during this reheating process: the problematic breakdown of delicate sulfur compounds and the concerning oxidation of cholesterol present in the egg. Sulfur compounds, which are naturally inherent in eggs, can degrade significantly during reheating, often resulting in that characteristic rubbery texture and, at times, an off-putting, distinctly sulfury odor. More critically, however, is the oxidation of cholesterol found in the egg yolk. When reheated, especially at elevated temperatures, the cholesterol within the egg can oxidize into compounds known as oxysterols, which have been consistently linked to increased systemic inflammation and a heightened risk of various cardiovascular diseases, according to comprehensive research published in the Journal of Lipid Research. Chronic inflammation, in turn, is a well-established contributor to cognitive decline, noticeable memory impairment, and the progression of neurodegenerative conditions such as dementia, as eloquently highlighted in studies from Nature Reviews Neurology. Older adults are particularly vulnerable and sensitive to these potential effects. As we gracefully age, our bodies tend to process fats with less efficiency, our arteries naturally become less flexible and resilient, and our brains become increasingly sensitive and responsive to inflammation. This means that seemingly minor dietary habits, such as quickly reheating scrambled eggs for a convenient breakfast, can, over a prolonged period, have disproportionately outsized consequences on our long-term health. For instance, imagine you've hard-boiled a substantial batch of eggs on Sunday, planning to enjoy them as convenient snacks throughout the week. On Wednesday, perhaps, you decide to warm one up briefly in the microwave. While this might appear to be a perfectly healthy, protein-packed choice, the egg's proteins may have become tougher, and its cholesterol may have subtly oxidized, potentially introducing inflammatory compounds into your system. Over months or even years, this habitual practice could subtly contribute to pervasive systemic inflammation that quietly, yet persistently, undermines your overall health and vitality. To effectively minimize these latent risks, it is best to prioritize eating eggs fresh or as soon as possible after they have been cooked. If you routinely batch cook eggs for convenience, consider enjoying them cold, perhaps delightfully incorporated into fresh salads, layered in simple sandwiches, or simply as a quick, satisfying snack, rather than opting to reheat them. Should reheating be absolutely necessary, always use gentle, even heat, such as a low temperature setting on a stovetop, and strictly avoid multiple rounds of reheating. Additionally, it is always paramount to store cooked eggs promptly in the refrigerator and aim to consume them within just a few days to meticulously maintain their optimal quality and safety. If an egg ever smells off, appears discolored, or has been stored for an unacceptably long period, it is always safest to discard it immediately. Eggs remain a genuine nutritional superstar when they are prepared thoughtfully and consumed wisely. By making small, conscious changes to how you handle and consume them, you can continue to relish their numerous benefits while effectively minimizing any potential risks. These seemingly minor decisions, specifically how you choose to store, reheat, or simply eat your eggs, can truly add up to provide significant cumulative health benefits over time, actively supporting your sustained energy levels, sharp cognition, and enduring overall well-being. Your body, as you mature, truly deserves the very best, and sometimes that profound care begins with thoughtfully rethinking something as fundamental and simple as your cherished breakfast routine. Chicken stands as a true staple in countless households, rightfully celebrated for its remarkable versatility, broad affordability, and its well-deserved reputation as a healthy, lean, and nutritious protein. Whether it's skillfully grilled to perfection, lovingly roasted until golden brown, or simply baked, it remains a consistent go-to choice for fitness enthusiasts, busy families striving for quick meals, and truly anyone committed to maintaining a balanced and wholesome diet. Many of us, in a bid for efficiency, tend to cook chicken in larger quantities, thoughtfully storing the leftovers in the fridge for convenient, quick meals throughout the demanding week. It feels immensely convenient, genuinely time-saving, and unequivocally a practical choice for modern life. But here lies a surprising and often overlooked fact you may not have fully considered: reheating chicken, particularly when employing rapid methods like microwaving or high-heat ovens, can subtly but significantly alter its intricate composition in ways that may, over time, contribute to silent inflammation, unwelcome digestive issues, and even more serious long-term health concerns. When you first cook chicken, the applied heat masterfully transforms its complex protein structure, making it considerably more digestible for your system. The proteins thoughtfully denature, breaking down into more accessible forms that your stomach and intestines can efficiently process and absorb. However, when you introduce that same cooked chicken to heat for a second time during reheating, especially if the process is uneven, as it so frequently is in a microwave, or if the temperature is excessively high, those proteins undergo an additional second transformation. This supplementary heating can cause the proteins to become tougher, more rigid, and notably less bioavailable, which means your body has to expend significantly more effort and energy to thoroughly break them down. For younger individuals blessed with robust digestive systems, this subtle change might not be immediately noticeable or cause overt discomfort. Yet, as we gracefully age, our natural production of digestive enzymes and stomach acid progressively declines, inherently making it more challenging to process foods that were once effortlessly easy to handle. The concerning result? You might unexpectedly experience bloating, a general sense of abdominal discomfort, or a vague but persistent feeling of sluggishness after consuming reheated chicken, without ever fully connecting these dots back to the reheating process itself. The impact, however, extends far beyond mere digestion, and this is where the stakes concerning our long-term health undeniably become higher. Extensive research in nutritional science has increasingly demonstrated that reheating certain proteins, such as chicken, can regrettably lead to the formation of specific compounds that trigger low-grade, persistent systemic inflammation throughout the body. These particular compounds, notably including advanced glycation end products, AGEs, tend to form when proteins and fats are subjected to high heat multiple times. AGEs are especially concerning because they are not merely a minor inconvenience. They are definitively linked to chronic inflammation, which is now widely recognized as a fundamental root cause of numerous insidious health issues. Inflammation, my dear friends, does not solely manifest as acute joint pain or visible swelling. It is a silent yet powerful driver of serious conditions like heart disease, burgeoning insulin resistance, and even the debilitating neurodegenerative disorders such as Alzheimer's disease and various forms of dementia. Over a prolonged period, the cumulative effect of regularly consuming foods that actively promote inflammation, even in seemingly small amounts, can gradually wear down your body's inherent resilience, leaving you significantly more vulnerable to these age-related diseases that can dramatically diminish your quality of life. Let's vividly paint a relatable picture to underscore this point. Imagine it's a calm Sunday evening, and you've lovingly prepared a generous batch of perfectly roasted chicken breasts to serve as convenient meals throughout the week. You dutifully store them in the refrigerator, and then on a busy Tuesday, you quickly reheat a portion in the microwave for a swift, no-fuss lunch. You might observe that the chicken possesses a slightly rubbery texture, perhaps even a faint, unappetizing off flavor, but you casually shrug it off, thinking, it's still perfectly edible, right? What you might not fully realize, however, is that this noticeable change in both texture and taste is a tangible reflection of deeper, significant chemical alterations within the food itself. The proteins have undergone a detrimental second round of heat-induced damage, ultimately creating a product that is not only less palatable, but also considerably harder for your body to efficiently process. This, in turn, places a subtle yet very real and cumulative strain on your delicate digestive system, which, over time, can regrettably cascade into an unwarranted stress on your invaluable immune system and even your remarkably complex nervous system. This issue, it is crucial to understand, is particularly critical for older adults who may already be quietly grappling with various inflammation-related challenges, such as the stiffness of arthritis, the concerns of high blood pressure, or that frustrating cognitive fog that can often cloud mental clarity. Chronic, low-grade inflammation effectively acts like a slow-burning, persistent fire within the body, subtly sapping your precious energy, consistently dulling your essential mental acuity, and even unfavorably affecting your mood. For someone in their 50s, 60s, or gracefully beyond, these cumulative effects can unfortunately make daily life feel considerably more taxing and challenging than it truly needs to be. While consciously avoiding reheated chicken won't miraculously resolve all existing health issues, it undeniably represents a simple, actionable, and proactive step to significantly reduce unnecessary stress on your body. By mindfully making small, deliberate changes such as this, you are actively giving your entire system a much-needed chance to redirect its precious energy toward vital repair, essential recovery, and diligently maintaining your vibrant vitality. So, what empowering actions can you confidently take to effectively minimize these lurking risks? Firstly, consider with careful thought how you choose to reheat any leftovers. If you absolutely must reheat chicken, do so very gently. Utilizing a low-temperature oven or a slow stovetop method can significantly help preserve the delicate protein structure much more effectively than the often harsh and uneven heat of a microwave. Even better, consider the delicious option of incorporating leftover chicken into cold dishes, such as refreshing salads or convenient wraps, where reheating simply isn't necessary at all. Another truly smart strategy is to simply cook smaller batches of chicken, aiming to consume it fresh, thereby reducing the need for lengthy storage and repeated reheating altogether. These seemingly minor adjustments might appear insignificant, but they accumulate remarkably over time, especially as your body, with increasing age, becomes naturally more sensitive to various dietary stressors. The key takeaway, therefore, is crystal clear. Food preparation matters just as much, if not more, than the initial food selection itself. Chicken, in its original form, is a genuinely nutritious choice, but how you choose to handle it after it has been cooked can make a profound and lasting difference in how it ultimately affects your cherished health. By being consistently mindful of habits like reheating, you are not merely nourishing your body. You are deeply demonstrating care, respect, and profound self-love. As we journey through the aging process, these small, mindful acts truly become powerful and indispensable tools for diligently protecting our long-term well-being and embracing a healthier, more vibrant future. Mushrooms are an authentic nutritional powerhouse, widely beloved for their rich, earthy flavor, delightfully satisfying texture, and an impressively long list of health benefits that make them a wonderful addition to any diet. They are absolutely packed with powerful antioxidants, essential fiber, a variety of beneficial B vitamins, and remarkable immune-supporting compounds like beta-glucans. These attributes make them a fantastic and versatile addition to almost any meal, from sizzling stir-fries and comforting soups to fluffy omelets and savory side dishes. Whether you're gently sautéing cremini, expertly grilling large portobellos, or slowly simmering shiitakes, mushrooms invariably bring a unique depth of flavor to your meals while simultaneously offering tangible benefits for heart health, robust immunity, and even actively contributing to cancer prevention. However, there's a lesser-known downside, a subtle vulnerability to this culinary favorite, mushrooms are exceptionally sensitive to reheating. This inherent sensitivity can unfortunately affect not just their delicate taste and pleasant texture, but also, more importantly, how your body responds to them, potentially subtly disrupting your internal chemistry in unexpected ways. Unlike the vast majority of other vegetables, mushrooms possess a truly unique cellular composition that includes complex proteins, delicate enzymes, and nuanced fats. When you cook them fresh, these intricate components gently break down in a controlled and beneficial manner, thoughtfully releasing their rich flavors and making their valuable nutrients more readily accessible and bioavailable to your body. However, when you take the step to reheat mushrooms, especially multiple times or by employing high heat methods like microwaving, their intricate structure undergoes further undesirable degradation. The precious proteins and enzymes within them can break down into less digestible forms, which can regrettably lead to noticeable digestive discomfort, a sense of bloating, or an unwelcome, heavy, and sluggish feeling after consumption. This phenomenon is particularly pronounced for older adults, whose digestive systems may already be operating with reduced efficiency due to age-related declines in enzyme production and slower gut motility. What might have been a minor, transient inconvenience in your more youthful 20s or 30s can quite easily become a consistently noticeable and bothersome source of discomfort in your 50s, 60s, or well beyond.